We all have that friend who doesn't read. I know I've got a few. But give them a story they already love, and you might just turn them into a bookworm. Let's look at 10 perfect book gifts to give your non-reading friend. Novelizations. So novelization is an official adaptation of the movie. It normally comes after the movie, but a lot of movies are, of course, based on books. Some of these books are adapted directly from the movie, often just expanding on some of the story ideas, character thoughts, character depth, and details that were cut from the movie. Personally, for me, the first few books that come to mind are Ready Player One by Ernest Cline.
Challenge is to find 3 keys, but in 5 years, no one has even gotten 1 key.
If they love that movie, definitely give them the book. There's even a Ready Player 2 book now for those who really want to see what happens next, but no movie yet. The next one is The Martian by Andy Weir. Amazing movie, brilliant book. I read it and listened to it on audiobook.
29, they're much finer.
The Ridley Scott film was fantastic, but the book just dove into so much more of Mark Watney's problem-solving abilities and just the research that this author had to go into. Awesome humor he used, sheer stubbornness. It's a love letter to science fiction and survival. Andy Weir also has a project, Hail Mary. I hear it's in development for a movie, but if you're a fan of survival, science fiction, First Contact, that's also a great recommendation. And why will books like The Martian and Ready Player One work? Because they're written very much like the screenplay. It's super engaging, fun, smart, but they also expand on the movies where it's more science, more funny, or more humor, more problem solving, more character depth. So great gateway books. And it's written in plain, accessible English. So let's look at a few more book to movie or movie to book novelizations that you can recommend to your non-reading friend. Dune, of course, by Frank Herbert.
By controlling spice production, they became obscenely rich.
One of the first sci-fi books I read as a youngster, and I have to say the movies are doing a great job of sticking to the novel. So definitely recommend that, although the Dune novel is quite a big one, and there's actually an entire series of novels. Rogue One, a Star Wars story by Alexander Freed.
Rogue One, may the Force be with you.
It's much darker, grittier, but for fans of the film, it's amazing. The Shape of Water, which is, of course, that Guillermo del Toro masterpiece with, I believe he co-wrote it with Daniel Krauss, very good writer. It goes even deeper into the characters. The Man of Steel, yes, there is a novelization of The Man of Steel. It's perfect for superhero fans who want more internal monologue, and also like conflict, mythology. Alien Covenant by Alan Dean Foster, very good novelization author. It's a classic horror tie-in that fleshes out the missing pieces or the missing scenes. Halloween Kills by Tim Wagner. Tim is a great friend of mine. I actually met him in person at the Horror on Main convention in 2025. This is a must-read for fans of slasher fiction. It's gorier and darker than the movie.
Halloween's over, kids!
Tim has written a bunch of novelizations, so any of his comes highly recommended. I actually know a lot of fans of his that they only read his novelizations. They don't consider themselves readers, but if he writes a movie tie-in, they're there. Pacific Rim by Alex Irvine also comes to mind. Giant robots, monsters, and they all have a richer backstory in this novelization. There's also a Star Trek Beyond, also by Alan Dean Foster. It ties in decades of lore. The Dark Knight Rises, Doctor Strange novelizations. There's the James Bond books, 007, Terminator Salvation. Another recommendation, of course, is Lord of the Rings, but it might be a bit too much for beginning readers. So you could always get The Fellowship of the Ring, since there are 3 individual books. Have them start out with that. And even though it is a book that's been written a while ago, it is written in quite easy English. It's approachable and a brilliant book, by the way. So if your non-reading friend loves going to the movies and there are specific types of movies that they enjoy, give them the book version of that. You never know, it could be a gateway into becoming a bookworm. Which novelizations are you thinking of recommending, or which ones are your favorite? Remember books, movies like The Shawshank Redemption came from a book. The Green Mile, a book, both by Stephen King, both highly recommended. The Green Mile blew my mind.
What happens on a mile stays on a mile, always has.
If they like war movies, Saving Private Ryan, Black Hawk Down, there's a Forrest Gump movie, Platoon, Thin Red Line, Enemy at the Gates. A lot of these war movies, war books are non-fiction, but it is actually easier to get a fan of war into reading non-fiction books than fiction. Unless, of course, it's written more like in a memoir style by an actual veteran who was there. And there's a lot of those. So again, let me know in the comments what's your favorite novelization, and have you ever recommended a novelization or a media tie-in book to a friend?